When you get your moving estimate, you'll notice a line item called fuel surcharge, or FSC. If you're like most people, you might be wondering, what is this and why am I paying for it? Today we're going to break down exactly how fuel surcharges work, why they exist, and why you need to know to avoid any surprises on moving day. Let's start with the basics. A fuel surcharge is an additional transportation charge that adjusts for the changes in diesel fuel prices above $2 per gallon. Now you might be thinking, wait, $2 a gallon, diesel hasn't been $2 in years. And you're right. We'll get to how that works in just a minute. First, let me explain why fuel surcharges exist in the first place. Fuel surcharges aren't just a moving industry thing. They're used across nearly every transportation sector. Airlines, freight carriers, package delivery companies like FedEx and UPS, and yes, household goods movers. The reason is simple. Fuel prices change constantly, and fuel is one of the largest and most unpredictable costs in long-distance transportation. Think about it. If moving companies only charge you a flat rate that tried to account for fuel costs, what would happen? When fuel prices are low, you'd be overpaying. When fuel prices spike, the company would be losing money on every move, and that could impact service quality, reliability, or even whether they can stay in business. The fuel surcharge solves this problem. It allows the cost of fuel to be adjusted separately from your base transportation rate, and it does so in a way that's transparent and fair. You pay for fuel based on what the fuel actually costs when your move happens, not what it cost 6 months ago when the company set their base rates. And here's something important to know. The fuel surcharge goes directly to the owner of the truck that's hauling your belongings. It isn't a hidden profit center. It's a pass-through cost that covers actual fuel expenses. Now let's talk about how companies like Wheaton Van Lines actually calculate the fuel surcharge. It's a little bit down in the weeds, but it's important to know. The process is standardized and based on real data, so let me walk you through step by step. Once a month, Wheaton and all moving companies look at the national average price of diesel fuel. It isn't just a number they make up. It comes from the Energy Information Administration, which is part of the Department of Energy. This is the same source that news organizations and economists use. Remember that $2 per gallon baseline we mentioned? Here's how it works. The company takes the current national average diesel price and calculates how much above $2 per gallon it is. The difference is then converted into a percentage. Typically, this percentage ranges anywhere from 1% all the way up to 24%, depending upon how high fuel prices are at that moment. Once they have that percentage, they multiply it by your base line haul rate. This is your fuel surcharge amount. And here's a key detail. That percentage stays in effect for just 30 days. It is recalculated once a month. Now here's where it gets really important, and it's something that catches a lot of people off guard. The fuel surcharge that applies to your move is the one in effect on the day your shipment actually loads on the truck, not the day you get your estimate. If fuel prices spike between the time you get your estimate and the time your belongings are loaded, your fuel surcharge could jump by several percentage points or more. That means your cost will go up. Of course, the opposite is also true. If fuel prices drop, your fuel surcharge could be lower than what it was on your estimate, and you'll save money. That's just the nature of fuel pricing. It's very volatile. But understanding this ahead of time means you won't be blindsided if there's a difference between your estimate and your final bill. So as a consumer, what should you take away from all of this? First, the fuel surcharge is a legitimate and standard part of interstate moving costs. It is not a hidden fee or a way for the company to pad their profits. It's a transparent way to account for the very real cost of diesel fuel, which can change dramatically from month to month. Don't be afraid to ask your moving company about it. A reputable mover will be happy to explain how their fuel surcharge is calculated and what the current rate is. All right, that wraps up our discussion of fuel surcharges. We've covered 4 of the 5 composite transportation charges that make up your interstate moving estimate. In the next video, we're going to tackle the last one, and it's one of the most misunderstood charges in the entire industry: valuation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.